Welcome back to our channel, dear soap opera aficionados. Today is a magnificent day to delve deep into the glamorous, cutthroat world of Los Angeles fashion, where loyalty is a currency constantly fluctuating in value and ambition often demands the ultimate sacrifice. Grab your favorite beverage, settle into a comfortable spot, and let us unpack the explosive, emotionally charged drama awaiting us in the coming week. The glittering skyline of Los Angeles has always served as a beautiful, deceptive backdrop for the bitter rivalries and shattered loyalties that define the Forrester and Logan dynasties. As we look toward the highly anticipated episode airing on Monday, May 11th, the foundational pillars of these two legendary families are cracking under the immense pressure of corporate greed, unyielding ambition, and desperate self-preservation. The upcoming week promises to deliver a masterclass in psychological warfare, as lines are drawn in the sand, ultimatums are delivered behind closed doors, and the true cost of power is finally revealed. At the very center of this brewing storm are three distinct but deeply interconnected conflicts that threaten to alter the landscape of the fashion industry forever. At the epicenter of this familial earthquake stands Donna Logan Forrester, a woman who has historically served as the emotional glue binding the often fractious Logan sisters together. For decades, the Logan women have relied on their unbreakable sisterly bond to survive the relentless trials of life, love, and corporate sabotage. However, the recent monumental success of the newly launched Logan fashion brand has introduced a toxic element into their dynamic. Donna has spent the past several days watching in absolute horror as her family splinters apart, driven by Katie Logan Spencer's sudden, ruthless ascent to the top of the fashion world. The situation escalates to a terrifying climax when Katie finally unveils the next phase of her grand master plan, sending shockwaves through Donna's very core. Katie's perspective is heavily colored by the intoxicating taste of unprecedented global success, empowered by the unwavering, often ruthless support of Bill Spencer. Katie has shed her former insecurities and embraced a cutthroat corporate persona. Her debut collection, built controversially upon the stolen, uncredited designs of Eric Forrester, has been broadcasted on billboards worldwide, bringing in millions and validating her long-suppressed ambition. But Katie knows that a single successful collection does not guarantee a lasting empire. To truly cement the Logan brand as a permanent titan in the industry, she needs a face, a muse, and a proven fashion icon. She looks across the battlefield and sets her sights on the ultimate prize, her own niece, Hope Logan Spencer. When Katie casually reveals her strategic intention to poach Hope from Forrester Creations, the sheer audacity of the ambition leaves Donna absolutely paralyzed. "No way," Donna breathes out, her voice trembling with a potent mixture of disbelief and rising panic. For Donna, this is no longer just a disagreement over business ethics or stolen sketches. This is a direct, fatal strike against the sacred heart of their family. She knows intimately that Brooke Logan Forrester is currently risking her marriage, her legacy, and her sanity to fight for Hope's rightful place at Forrester Creations. If Katie successfully lures Hope away, it will not just be a corporate victory. It will be a deeply personal betrayal that will sever the sisterly bond beyond any hope of repair. The physical confrontation between Donna and Katie is fraught with decades of unspoken resentments and desperate love. Donna, tears welling in her eyes, steps into Katie's impeccably designed new office, the sterile luxury of the space serving as a stark contrast to the raw, bleeding emotions between them. Donna launches into a frantic, impassioned plea, begging her younger sister to step back from the precipice. She implores Katie to remember who they are, to prioritize the sanctity of their family over the cold, calculated metrics of business success. Donna argues that no amount of wealth, prestige, or industry dominance is worth destroying the sisterhood that has been their ultimate sanctuary. She desperately tries to make Katie see that poaching Hope is an act of war against Brooke, a war that will leave casualties scattered across both their lives. Yet, Katie remains an immovable fortress. The influence of Bill Spencer, combined with her own deeply rooted psychological need to finally step out of Brooke's towering shadow, has hardened her resolve. Katie justifies her actions under the guise of offering Hope a much-needed lifeline, a sanctuary away from the condescending tyranny of Steffi Forrester Finnegan. In Katie's mind, she is not destroying the family. She is saving her niece from a toxic environment while simultaneously securing the future of the Logan brand. The tragedy of this sisterly standoff lies in the fact that both women believe they are acting out of love and necessity, rendering a compromise entirely impossible. Donna is left standing in the wake of Katie's ambition, mourning the inevitable death of the Logan family unity. Meanwhile, across town, within the hallowed, glass-paneled walls of the Forrester Creations executive suite, an equally devastating power struggle is reaching its boiling point. Brooke Logan Forrester has officially crossed the Rubicon. Radicalized by the relentless marginalization of her daughter, Brooke has transformed from a concerned mother into a corporate warrior. She has spent the past few days meticulously laying the groundwork for a hostile takeover, aiming directly for the co-CEO seat currently occupied by Steffi. The atmosphere in the CEO office is thick with tension, heavy with the ghosts of past corporate coups and the lingering echoes of Stephanie Forrester's eternal disdain for the Logan women. Ridge Forrester finds himself trapped in a familiar, agonizing purgatory, paralyzed between the fierce, unwavering loyalty he holds for the daughter he raised to be a titan and the profound, consuming love he harbors for his wife. During Friday's explosive cliffhanger, a desperate Ridge looked at Brooke and asked the impossible question, "What do you want me to do? Fire Steffi?" It was a moment of raw vulnerability from a man who realizes he has lost control of the empire he helped build. He knows that he has enabled Steffi's worst executive impulses, turning a blind eye as she morphed into a condescending bully who gleefully paused the hope for the future line to prioritize Eric's couture. But acknowledging his daughter's flaws is a far cry from actively dethroning her. However, Brooke is not merely asking for a favor. She is demanding a fundamental restructuring of the Forrester hierarchy, and she comes armed with an arsenal of undeniable truths. On Monday, Brooke will deliver her final, masterful pitch. She presents Ridge with an offer he simply cannot refuse. While the exact details of this proposition remain shrouded in suspense, its psychological weight is staggering. Brooke leverages her decades of dedication to the company, the historical success of the Logan-led initiatives, and, most importantly, the survival of their marriage. She makes it abundantly clear that the current dynamic is unsustainable, not just for the company's bottom line, but for their lives together. She paints a vivid picture of a united front, where she and Ridge co-pilot the company, restoring balance, respect, and profitability. The sheer force of Brooke's conviction, coupled with the undeniable logic that Steffi's hubris is driving their top talent straight into the arms of a rival brand, finally breaks Ridge's resistance. In a monumental turning point that will shift the tectonic plates of the Los Angeles fashion world, Ridge capitulates. He surrenders to Brooke's vision, agreeing to undertake the excruciating task of speaking to Steffi about stepping down from her position as co-CEO. This decision is not made lightly. It is a blood-soaked compromise that Ridge knows will ignite a fiery, unforgiving wrath within his daughter. He is choosing his wife over his child's ambition, a choice that carries the weight of 1,000 past betrayals. The impending doom hovering over Steffi Forrester Finnegan is almost Shakespearean in its tragic irony. For weeks, Steffi has operated under a blinding cloud of executive arrogance. She has openly mocked Hope's grievances, callously dismissed the intrinsic value of the hope for the future brand, and arrogantly ignored the dire, prophetic warnings delivered by Carter Walton. Carter, acting as the tragic Cassandra of Forrester Creations, explicitly warned Steffi that her actions were mirroring the exact hubris that led to past corporate coups. Steffi laughed in the face of that warning, entirely convinced of her untouchable supremacy. She has absolutely no idea that her own father, the man whose approval she seeks above all else, is currently preparing to walk in her office and strip her of the crown she believes is her birthright. Far removed from the sterile, cutthroat battlegrounds of the corporate offices, a deeply intimate and agonizing conversation unfolds within the rustic, emotionally charged walls of the cabin. Hope Logan Spencer is standing at the most critical crossroads of her entire life. For weeks, she has been a victim of Steffi's relentless bullying, her life's work repeatedly shelved and disrespected. In response, her husband, Liam Spencer, has proven himself to be a brilliant, if somewhat ruthless, strategic architect. Liam has meticulously orchestrated a golden parachute for his wife, securing her a highly lucrative, creatively liberating position at Katie's new Logan brand. He has laid the world at her feet, offering her an immediate escape from the toxic environment that has been slowly draining her spirit. Yet, Hope's heart is an entirely different, far more complicated compass. While the logical, self-preserving move would be to accept Liam's offer and defect to the Logan brand, Hope finds herself paralyzed by a profound, multifaceted loyalty. The news she must deliver to Liam on Monday is not a triumphant declaration of independence, but rather a heartbreaking admission of hesitation. Hope looks at the escape hatch Liam has built for her, and despite the immense relief it promises, she simply cannot bring herself to step through it. The internal conflict tearing her apart is rooted in two distinct, deeply emotional foundations: her maternal bond with Brooke and her intrinsic connection to her brand. The maternal factor is perhaps the most paralyzing weight on Hope's conscience. She knows intimately what Brooke is currently doing on her behalf. She knows that her mother is marching into the executive suite, risking the wrath of Ridge and the stability of her hard-won marriage, all to fight for Hope's rightful place at the table. If Hope were to simply walk away now, abandoning Forrester Creations for the shiny new Logan brand, she would render Brooke's massive sacrifice entirely meaningless. Hope confesses to Liam that her departure would utterly break her mother's heart, leaving Brooke isolated and exposed on a battlefield she entered solely to protect her daughter. The guilt of that potential betrayal is a heavy, suffocating blanket that Hope refuses to wear. Furthermore, there is the undeniable, soulful connection Hope shares with her work. Hope for the Future is not just a clothing line. It is the physical manifestation of her values, her creativity, and her legacy. She has poured her blood, sweat, and tears into building a brand that stands for positivity, inclusivity, and forward-thinking fashion. To abandon it to gather dust in the Forrester archives, or worse, to leave it in the hands of someone who fundamentally disrespects its message, feels like abandoning a child. Hope looks deep into Liam's eyes, her own filled with a fierce, newly ignited resolve, and delivers her verdict. "I am so proud of Hope for the Future," she tells him, her voice steadying with every word. "I have to fight for it." Liam's reaction to this declaration is a complex tapestry of strategic anxiety and profound, unwavering love. He listens to his wife essentially choose to remain in a war zone, voluntarily standing in the direct line of Steffi's relentless fire. As a husband whose primary instinct is to protect, this decision terrifies him. He worries deeply that she is making a catastrophic mistake, that her loyalty to her mother and her brand will ultimately result in her emotional destruction. The rumors swirling around Liam's anxiety are entirely justified. He sees the clear, unobstructed path to happiness at the Logan brand, and he cannot fully comprehend why Hope would choose the grueling, uphill battle at Forrester Creations instead. However, despite his strategic reservations and his palpable fear for her well-being, Liam is forced to recognize the transformative power of Hope's resolve. She is no longer the marginalized victim weeping over paused production schedules. She is a warrior digging her heels into the dirt, preparing to reclaim what is rightfully hers. The dynamic between them shifts subtly, moving from a protector saving a damsel to a partner standing beside a queen preparing for battle. Liam may worry that she is hesitating to embrace a brighter future, but he must ultimately respect the fierce, unyielding pride that anchors her to her legacy. As the dust begins to settle on this pivotal Monday episode, the board is meticulously set for a massive, unavoidable collision. The Logan sisters are fractured, perhaps irreparably, by the blinding allure of corporate success and the desperate need for validation. Forrester has made a fateful, agonizing choice that will inevitably ignite a brutal civil war within his own family, preparing to dethrone the daughter he adores to appease the wife he cannot live without. And Logan Spencer has chosen the path of most resistance, rejecting a peaceful surrender in favor of a bloody, drawn-out fight for her life's work. The weapons have been sharpened, the alliances have been tested, and the true cost of legacy is about to be paid in full. We are standing on the precipice of a new era in Los Angeles, and the fallout will be nothing short of spectacular. Stay tuned.